Good afternoon and good evening to you all. My name is Fabian Yu, and I am a member of the BLIA of Toronto. I'm very happy to welcome you to the 2022 BLIA North America Cloud Lecture Series. Today, we are very honored to have Venerable觉繼deliver the session of this series. Venerable觉繼has spent the last 3 decades dedicating herself to studying and practicing humanistic Buddhism. She received her PhD in Buddhist Studies at Hong Kong University and has served in many roles at Fo-Guang-Shan, which include Director of Fo-Guang-Shan English Buddhist College for Buddhist Monastic Education, the Director of Hong Kong Buddhist College for Buddhist Lay Education, and Director of the Institute of Chinese Buddhist Studies at the University of the West, to name a few. Currently, she is a Dharma teacher and director of the Fo-Guang-Shan Xiangyun Temple in Austin, Texas. The title of her talk is, "It is Good to Have You," which is a popular phrase that our Grand Master Venerable Xingyuan has used in many of his teachings. Today, Venerable觉繼will provide an overview of how this phrase applies to humanistic Buddhism and beyond. Without further ado, let us join our palms and welcome Venerable觉繼.
Dear friends of 2022 BLIA North America Cloud Lecture Series, it's my honor to be invited as one of the speakers of this lecture series. Let me share the screen with you. My topic is, "It's good to have you." In Chinese, 有您真好. This is written by Venerable Master Xingyun. And as we know that Venerable Master Xingyun writes very beautiful and meaningful one-stroke calligraphy. His one-stroke calligraphy is sent to people who need this, and then people get inspiration from his one-stroke calligraphy. And the phrase that I choose today is, "It's good to have you." It's good to have you. That you, I can define that as Venerable Master Xingyun. He is a great spiritual guide. And he told us that the mind can be purified, that the mind can be virtuous, the mind can be beautiful through spiritual cultivation. So as we walk on the path to enlightenment, Venerable Master Xingyun shared his life journey in practicing Buddhism with us. And then he pointed out that humanistic Buddhism is the best way to walk on the path to enlightenment. And that path is the Bodhisattva path. So what is a Bodhisattva practice? A Bodhisattva is a Buddha to be. And the Bodhisattva share with people an altruistic practice that the Bodhisattva is willing to help others. And he will think that to enlighten others is equal to enlighten himself. And to benefit others is to benefit himself. So in helping others, he is not thinking of himself. He always places others in the first place, and then put himself in others' shoes. So the idea of you and the idea of I, they should be identical. It is like that we look into the mirror, and what we see in the mirror is not ourselves. It's you. It's all beings. And so that when we are able to see into the mirror like that, then we would understand that in our daily life practice, when we see others in suffering, then we want to help them out of compassion. And we will treat that person as we want to treat ourselves. So everyone in this world, that we should regard them as one. So this is what we say, that we are one, and that oneness of all beings would bind us together so that we can live harmoniously with one another together. So who are you, or who is you? In practice, that means when I see you, I see that myself is in you. And when you are happy, and I see it is I who is happy. And so when you suffer, I also see that I suffer too. And so therefore, to solve your problem is to solve my problem. So a bodhisattva would treat others like he would treat himself or herself. So people say that in the United States, that everyone can have a dream. And if you work hard, you can make your dream come true. And in 1963, Martin Luther King Jr., he made a speech, I Have a Dream, which is very popular, very famous. And in his dream, he says that he wants everyone to be treated equally, and then everyone has the right to seek freedom himself. And so in seeking a dream and to actualize one's dream, have you thought of that, is that my dream come true more important than making your dream come true? What if your dream and my dream are in contradiction to each other? So which dream should be accomplished first? And as a Buddhist, what should we look at this? So if your dream and my dream are identical, then that can be a sweet dream. But if your dream and my dream, they are in contradiction to each other, that can be a nightmare. So oftentimes in our society, we see all kinds of tragedies happen in the society. For example, gun shootings. For example, bullying happened in campus. For example, racial discriminations. So all these are driven by hate. And so therefore, we may ask ourselves, where does all this hate come from? And how can we stop this hate and then stop it from happening again and again? So hate, in Buddhist view, it is one of the three poisons. And what are the three poisons? It's greed, hate, and ignorance. Or put it in a simple word, it is I like, I don't like, and I don't know. So I like, it doesn't mean that we cannot like things or like a person, but if it goes to extremes, then it becomes greed. That is a desire more than what is needed. Then it is no good. It becomes a poison. So hate, that means I don't like something or someone. And of course, you can have your preferences of likes and dislikes. But if it goes to extremes, then it's a poison. Okay? And so all this, they are coming from the root of all this is ignorance. And so practicing, learning Buddhism is to get rid of ignorance and discover the wisdom So if we just allow all the three poisons to act, to respond to the things in the world, then we create bad karma. So karma can be categorized into good karma, bad karma, etc. But in our practice, we have to be very careful what the three poisons can result into bad karmas. So in that way, I will say that it's good to have you, and that you refers to humanistic Buddhism advocated by Venerable Master Xing Yun. In humanistic Buddhism, Venerable Master Xing Yun says that disregarding all Buddhist traditions, this school and that school, he says that no, we don't want to separate ourselves into different schools. Let's all work hand in hand in learning and practicing what the Buddha taught. So he says that let's holding true to the original intent of Buddha. And in practicing humanistic Buddhism, that would help us to live a better life. Why is that? Let us see the definition of humanistic Buddhism. First, humanistic Buddhism is taught by the Buddha. Second, humanistic Buddhism is needed by the people. Third, humanistic Buddhism is purified. Humanistic Buddhism, number 4, is virtual and beautiful. And let me explain to you one by one. Humanistic Buddhism is taught by the Buddha. So we want to know what is taught by the Buddha. Actually, at the beginning, when the Buddha got enlightened under the Bodhi tree, and he still enjoying the peacefulness, the calmness of the mind. And so he decided to remain silent, not sharing his discovery with others. Why? Because he understood that the contemporary people at that time, they are ignorant, they are not qualified to accept the truths that he has just discovered. And then they may fight against him when he is to share the truth with them. But then the heavenly beings, those who know the importance of inviting the enlightened one to teach, to share his enlightenment, the truth with people, so that people can get rid of what we call ignorance and get enlightened too. So they requested the Buddha to teach the truth. And so out of compassion, the Buddha decided to teach. And with that decision, then we have what we call the Dharma nowadays. And then he has a group of people following his teaching, the Sangha. So in that case, we say that it's good to have you, and that you refers to the triple gem, which is the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. So what did the Buddha teach? Okay. He teaches Four Noble Truths, Noble Eightfold Paths, the law of cause and effect, dependent origination, or put into more details, the 12 links of dependent origination. So in dependent origination, that he says that we are independent, okay? That we cannot exist all by ourselves, that we have to rely on one another, and we are interconnected with one another. So in this world, no one is superior to others. No one is inferior to others. In other words, we are equal with one another. So we should treat all ethnic groups of people equally, that no matter which color they are, no matter they are Asian people, they are European people, Caucasian people, or African people, that we are one in this world. And we should work hand in hand to make this earth a good environment for us to live in. And speaking about the United States, that we all know that there's a combination of different ethnic groups of people that living together in this land. And so some people describe the American as a melting pot, meaning that all the ingredients melting into one soup. But some people describe that, no, we are not melting into that soup pot. And we are a salad bowl that you can see the ingredients of the salad in that bowl. Or there's another metaphor for the variety of the people living in the States. It says that it's like a potluck. Okay? So in a potluck party, what do? People from different backgrounds, maybe this is a group of Italian people, then they will bring Italian dish to the party. And if you are a Japanese background, you may bring your sushi or your miso soup to the party. And if you're Chinese, then you bring Chinese dishes to the party. And if you are French, and then you bring French bread to the party. So anyway, people in a potluck party, they bring the food, carrying on their cultural background. And these people sitting at a table, they share the food and also they share the culture. And then they appreciate the culture, the uniqueness of the culture. So like that, in the United States, that we have people of different ethnic backgrounds. And then we should respect the uniqueness of each ethnic group. And it is that variety of different cultures that make these countries such a colorful world, that we can learn from each other's culture. And in return, that would enrich the culture in the States. So I would say it's good to have you, and that you refers to the variety of ethnic groups. So in the Buddha's teaching, he teaches the dependent origination or co-arising. Okay? And that law of co-arising, that will brings us a very important core teaching of the Buddha, that is, everything changes all the time. Okay? And why is that? So we are familiar with the law of cause and effect. We often talk about its cause and effect, but actually what we have neglected is the condition between cause and effect. If conditions changes, then even the cause is the same, but that can result in different kinds of effect. So cause A with condition A can have effect A, but cause A with condition B can result in effect B, and cause C with condition C can effect in different kinds of effects. Okay? So whether it's the same cause that with different conditions that will lead to different effects, or different causes with the same condition that will lead again to different effects. And then that bring the variety of people and things, culture, everything that is changing what we are living now in this society. So we should understand that change can be in our external world. For example, the weather. So maybe today is a sunny day. Tomorrow, it will be a cloudy day or a thunderstorm day, or it can snow, right? And so therefore, in the external world, we see and we experience the changes of the nature, and then we accept it. And how about internally? Let's look at individuals, we ourselves. So in our life, the life process is birth, aging, illness, and death. So this is the life process. Now, as we are grown-ups, but when we look back at our childhood, so we still remember when we are young, when we are little, so what kind of person we were. And then when we look forward in seeing the aged people, people who are elder than us, then we also can expect one day will be like that. So the life process of each individual also allows us to see the changes in life. Okay? So change can be externally or internally. And so living in this world, we experience changes all the time. So how can we hold on to one specific thing and expect that one thing to remain unchanged? This is not logical, irrational. And so the Buddha pointed that out, saying that everything is impermanent. And not only that, it is illusory. So everything is illusory. So take example of the 360 Bridge, which is a landmark of the city of Austin, where I live in now. So it's very beautiful during the bright sunlight in the middle of the day. But if you go to that bridge early in the morning, you see the dawning sky, and then that can be very different, or in the evening, or during the sunset, or with the days with all clouds in the sky. So different kinds of conditions in a day that will come up with different views of this landmark bridge. Okay, so it's illusory. When I say illusory, meaning that you cannot point it at certain time of a day and then say that this is the bridge, because the scenery changes because of the condition of the time changes or the weather changes. And then I cannot bring you a solid, unchanging form of the bridge. And then that responds to what the Diamond Sutra says. So here's the famous quote from this sutra. The quote goes like this: "So you should view this fleeting world, a star at dawn, a bubble in a stream, a flash of lightning in a summer cloud, a flickering lamp, a phantom, and a dream." Okay. So all these metaphors, okay, the bubble, lightning, the flickering lamp, phantom, dream, all these are illusory, that you cannot hold on to it. It changes, it comes, and it goes. in a snap of fingers. And so what is real? What is the reality of life? We may ask ourselves. So the Diamond Sutra says that this is a fleeting world. It keeps on changing. Changing is the reality of this world. And in that, we see the change. That change brings us a variety of phenomena in the world. So you see beautiful flowers, colorful, is a red flower, orange flower, white, pink flowers. And as it blossoms, it makes the environment, the view, different. And it's good to have you. That you refers to change. It's because of the change that we can appreciate different views in the 4 seasons of a year. And then it is the change. We see the growth, the process of growing of a human being. And it is because of change that we can have different taste of the weather. We can enjoy the rain. We can also enjoy the warm sunshine in the day. So it is because change. And it's good to have you. So that is taught by the Buddha. And humanistic Buddhism says that what he advocates is based on the teaching of the Buddha. Now, next, second definition of humanistic Buddhism is that it is needed by the people. So when we see the changing world, some people may become very pessimistic and then they cannot accept it. They reject the reality of the changing world. But some people can face this changing world with very positive, optimistic attitude. And they will vow and then they would be very determined to adjust themselves to the changing world or to create something new and then make this world a happy land to live in. So, do you want to change yourself? Do you want to adjust yourself to the changing environment? Say, for example, in COVID, do you want to adjust yourself to live in this kind of environment? So when you go outside, you have to put on face mask. And putting on face mask is not comfortable, especially summer is coming and it would be difficult for you to breathe the fresh air. And to put it on or not put it on, that is the question that you have to make by yourself. So it's just like Hamlet in the Shakespearean play. His famous question is, to be or not to be? That is the question. So that is your question, to be or not to be. And we have to make decisions like this all the time. So once we wake up in the morning and we have to make all kinds of decisions. And your one decision will lead you to make a following decision. And that can make your day a totally different day if you make an optional decision that day. So, like that, it is we, ourselves, we create our life. We create our own karma. We create ourselves. It's not someone else make the decision. It's always we ourselves make the decision. And that decision making is driven by our karma. And again, that is our own making. So, say for example, you want to lead a better life, okay? Then you have to make the decision. You want to learn Buddhism? Then there are a variety of choices nowadays that you can make. So one of my English communities told me that they make it a decision that every day in the morning that they have to listen one story from the BLIA Tales podcast. Now, some of you may not knowing this. It is produced by a group of people at Foguangsan, and they continue to record the stories. They rewrite, they edit the stories and make it understandable to the modern time people in English. So from the stories, then you can always learn some Dharma. And so like this devotee in their family, that they can start a day by listening to one Buddhist story. And then the following time of that day, this family, they can discuss Dharma based on what they have heard early in the morning. And then they can reflect by the end of the day whether they have practiced what they have learned that day. So isn't that a good decision to make? And also that during COVID, many people told me that it is so stressful that they have to work from home, that in using the home, the house as the workplace, that they not only need to do the work, but also need to take care of the household staff, that their kids may play around them, pet dogs may be running around them, and it's so annoying that they cannot concentrate on their work. Okay? And then, so maybe they are dreaming of have some time out to meditate, finding a quiet corner at home, and then breathe, refresh their mind. Or they may want to take a break, a coffee break, and relax for a while. But some people will continue to stare their eyes on the screen and work. So these are all your own decisions. You are the decision maker of your schedule, that you decide whether you want it or not. If you want it, you try hard. You can make it. Okay? But some people, they just that things happens like that, and then they have what we call a remote work burnout. So by the end, you burn out, and then you don't have energy to face tomorrow. So again, this is your own karma, your own decision making, and you have to be responsible for that decision you make. And so therefore, in learning Buddhism and practicing humanistic Buddhism, it is good to have you. For example, you make the right decision to listen to the BLIA Tale podcast, or you would choose to practice recitation of the Buddha's name, etc. And you learn the Dharma, and with that decision made, you practice the path. You walk on the path that will lead you to enlightenment. So isn't that wonderful? It's good to have you, humanistic Buddhism, which is needed by the people. The third definition of humanistic Buddhism is that you will be purified in your behavior, in your speech, in your mind. So if you want to lead a better life, then you need to change yourself. We are all ordinary people. We have our demerits, our shortcomings, And of course, that we need to face this is our own shortcomings. And it is not pointing our fingers at others, asking others to change themselves so that I can feel better. No, it is the other way around, that I have to change myself. And one of the ways that I feel that I've learned from Fubon San, and it has changed myself a lot, that is 4 G's that Venerable Master Xing Yun says. He says that you have to give others confidence, give others joy, give others hope, give others convenience. So it's give, 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 instead of take, take, take. So that kind of mentality change would make yourself a better person, a person of good affinities to get along with others, and that is purified. So we have to change ourselves. By changing ourselves, then we can start a new life that we can have a new way of doing things, helping others, do good deeds, a new life that we will speak good words, that we purify our speech, a new life that we purify our mind, we think with thoughts. So in that, we say that change can give you a new life. And the way that a Buddhist, that we can make a new life ourselves is by taking refuge in a triple gem. And Venerable Master Xing Yun says that it is like you register in a school, that in that school you learn Buddhism, you practice Buddhism. So it's just a starting step that you cross the threshold to go to school to learn and practice. So like in that refuge ceremony, that as a presiding monastic, I will sprinkle holy water onto the participants. And that holy water, it has its symbolic meaning, that it is like water that can clean things, that can purify things. So that purifying object is our behavior, is our speech, it's our mind. And by taking refuge in the triple gem and becoming a Buddhist formally, then we can take the journey to enlightenment. And what is the journey? It's our spiritual journey. We make vow to ourselves, and we make vow in front of the Buddha and in front of the public that we want to walk on the path, that we are going to cultivate ourselves spiritually. Okay? So that path, the Buddha told us and give us a very clear guideline, is the Noble Eightfold Path. So there are 8 kinds here. So first of all, you got to have a right view about the reality of the world. And then following that guidance of the right view, so every thought that arises in you, make sure that is right thought. Okay? So whenever there is an erroneous thought arises, then under the guidance of the right view, you adjust that on the right track. Okay? And then the third one is right speech. So we want to say things that's encouraging to others, that make others feel that there is promise in life. We don't want to blame others. We don't want to discourage others. We don't want to say bad things about others. And then number 4 is right action. So right action as a bodhisattva practice, then that we should help others. and then solve the problems for others. And we will do things not hurting others, just for our own sake. We want to help all beings. And then in earning the living for life, Buddha says that we need to take right livelihood, that our career shouldn't harm others. It should benefit others. And then right effort applies to what I have said just earlier. And then right effort also applies to what I'm going to describe in the following two needs. That is right mindfulness and right concentration. So to train our mind, to get rid of our monkey mind, we have to be mindful, be more concentrated in doing things, in dealing with people. And this also needs right effort. So these are the Noble Eightfold Paths that the Buddha taught us. And this can help us in purifying our body, mind, and speech. And this is what the humanistic Buddhism is advocating about. And more than that, the humanistic Buddhism also encourage people to take the 5 precepts, which is very common among Buddhists. So what are the 5 precepts? First one is no killing, meaning that we have to refrain ourselves from taking life of others. Number 2, that we should not steal, meaning we should refrain ourselves from taking what is not given. And then number 3 is no sexual misconduct, or refrain ourselves from the misuse of the senses or sexual misconduct. Number 4 is no lying, or refrain ourselves from wrong speech. Number 5 is no intoxicants, or refrain ourselves from intoxicants that cloud our mind. So these are the 5 moral precepts that we should learn in the school of Buddhism. So in this school, there's all kinds of retreat that we can take. So for one, 5 precept retreat, that during that retreat, you observe silence, and then you follow the curriculum to observe the precepts so that you can purify your speech, you can purify your behavior, you can purify your thoughts. Or you can join the short-term novice retreat, and which is especially for the lay people who want to experience the monastic life. And during that retreat, you would live just like a monastic live in a monastery. And then that is also very refreshing and inspiring and rewarding. And I would like to say that in practicing the retreat, the precept, discipline, that we need a group of people to practice. And that is what in Buddha's time, he says that it's the Sangha community, that a group of people who will listen to the Buddha's teaching and then practice his teaching in their daily lives. And this community, they help each other. And anyone in this community can be the teacher of the rest of the community members. So for example, you join the short-term novice retreat, and it is the participants need to go to morning chanting, And if you feel sleepy, you don't want to attend the class, you go to the main shrine for chanting, then your roommate would wake you up and saying that, no, don't be lazy. Let's go to the main shrine to do the chanting together. And then you go to the main shrine. When you listen to the sounds of the chanting, then that's purifying. And then that will help you to get rid of your laziness. And then you will start a new day with morning chanting. But if you practice by yourself, then there is no one to remind you, to help you, to support you in the process, in the journey of your spiritual cultivation. So I would say that it's good to have you here. The you, it will refers to your spiritual life that's purified, and it refers to the triple gem that will guide you to cross the threshold of a Buddhist school that you can learn and practice. And then that you refers to precepts, for example, the 5 precepts that it can help you to observe your behavior, your speech, and your thought. And it's good to have you that refers to the Sangha community where you can learn from one another. And then number 4, the definition of humanistic Buddhism is virtuous and beautiful. Now we are all ordinary people, and Venerable Master Xing Yun says that in humanistic Buddhism, it is possible, and then we all have to make vows that we want to build a pure land on this earth. And we may think that it's an impossible dream. How come in this Saha world that people are so stubborn, and then there are so many violences in the world, and people are so stubborn, not hearing, listening to the advices of the words of wisdom. And so how to make the impossible into something possible, meaning build a pure land in this world. It takes courage, and then it takes a vow. And what Venerable Master Xing Yun guided us in making the vow is that to follow him and say, I am a Buddha. And this is often guided by the presiding master of Fo-Guang-San Branch Temple after the Triple Gem ceremony. Since we decide to change ourselves, to start a new life, then we should claim that I am a Buddha. We want to call the Buddha nature inside ourselves, to reveal it, to disclose it, to get rid of the clouds of the ignorance. But the question is, are you ready to be a Buddha? Are you just like the little girl in this photo looking at the Buddha statue in Buddha Museum? So for the little girl, maybe she still didn't know that what it is to be a Buddha. Okay? But if started from young, okay, started from we don't know, and then the spiritual leaders, they say that this is the right path. So following this path, and then you will walk to your Buddhahood yourself. So that's following Venerable Master Xing Yun's guidance, and then say to ourselves, I am a Buddha. So when we say I am a Buddha, we are just Buddhas to be. We are not yet there. And what we need to do is our mind. And we want to find the Buddha in our mind. At first, maybe the ordinary mind is still occupies the majority part of our ordinary thinking. And the Buddha mind is only just a glimpse of time that it shows, but it disappears. However, through practicing noble effort paths, through practicing say good words, do good deeds, think good thoughts, then gradually we will walk on the path closer and closer to Buddhahood. And there will be time that the mind is the Buddha, and vice versa, the Buddha is the mind. So, action plan, let's join a community, just like what the Buddha has taught. In his time, he as a teacher, and then he gives his teaching, of course, to people, to his students who want to learn and practice, put the teaching into practice in the daily life. So he forms a Sangha community. And that Sangha community can be the monastic and also can include the lay. Venerable Master Xing Yun says that the broader definition of Sangha community should include the lay people and the monastic. The lay and the monastic should work together in this community to make this world a better world. So here I will say that it's good to have you, and that you refers to that community, the Buddhist community, Foguang-san, for one, which is the world's most influential Buddhist organizations. And the other, it can refer to BLIA, which is basically for the lay followers, and Venerable Master Xing Yun creatives to bring up the talents of the lay people to work together with the monastic hand in hand. And BLIA is now being one of the world's top 5 international service organizations. And we are so fortunate to have Venerable Master Xing Yun in establishing these 2 organizations so that we can work together, we can study Buddhism, learn Buddhism, and practice Buddhism. And so, for example, you join this community, then you will learn Buddhism together with others. And then in our community, we provide all kinds of events or services for you to cultivate spiritually. And for one, Foguang-san Institute of Humanistic Buddhism provides online English Dharma chanting service. And so in this program, you can listen to different programs every Saturday online. And it includes chanting, it includes Dharma talk and prayers and so on. So every week, you can do your spiritual cultivation by attending this. And then also, if you want to improve your study of the Buddha's teaching, you can join, register the Global Buddhism exam. And every year, we have organized this kind of event. This year, the textbook is entitled Humanistic Buddhism, Holding True to the Original Intent of Buddha. So if you are interested in what I introduced to you today about Humanistic Buddhism advocated by Venerable Master Xing Yun, I would highly recommend you to have a copy of this book. It is in English and the content is very rich. You can learn on the fundamental teaching of the Buddha and the application of the teaching to our modern daily life experience. And also, as a Buddhist, that some of you may be interested in singing. And so Venerable Master Xing Yun has written lyrics so that there is an event called Sound of the Human World Contest. And every year there are some songs that it is using the lyrics to make music and that we can sing together. And it is very important that when we listen to music, that lyrics should have the purpose of guiding us to cultivate, to help us spiritual growth. And I will highly recommend that the Sound of the Human World music is very good. And also for film, maybe you are interested in watching movies, and the International Microfilm Contest produce some films that with the theme refers to the 3 acts of goodness, meaning say good words, do good deeds, think with thoughts. And so by watching this kind of film, it's also elevating. It also helps us in understanding the suffering of the world and how we as Buddhists, we can help others. We can apply our Bodhisattva practice to others. And we also care about the earth, the environment, and we want to reduce the greenhouse gas emissions. And the TEARS is proposing doable and sustainable nature-based solution. And according to the head abbot of Fobonsan, Venerable Master Xinbao, it says that we believe nature is our solution. So we want to encourage more people to plant trees to help to protect the environment. And also, we also organize events like Veg Run, which is an abbreviation of Vegan Run plus Vegetarian Run. And the running is to promote vegetarianism. We want to invite more people to take vegetarian diet. And the running is also for the earth. And then this kind of event also aiming at contributing to charity project and also to protect environment and reduce the global warming. So in that, I would say it's good to have you. And Venerable Master Xing Yun is that you. And also, it's good to have you is the Buddha's teaching that we can learn and practice in our daily life. And it's good to have you. And that you is that all of us working hand in hand to build a pure land on earth. Thank you for listening to my talk today. And if you have any questions, please put that in the chat box. And I'll try my best to answer your questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Venerable, for today's wonderful lecture. I just wanted to say it was fantastic how you were able to put one of Grandmaster's phrases, "It is good to have you," and kind of share how profound and deep and encompassing it is. We're very lucky today to have Venerable share some time with us and allow us to answer some questions live. So for those of you that are dialed into the Zoom call, please feel free to input your questions in the chat box, and we will be able to address them with Venerable, and she'll be able to give an answer. Venerable觉繼, maybe I'll start off with one question for you that we have prepared. So in your talk, Venerable, you mentioned that hatred is actually comes from ignorance, and that will then result in bad karma. We were wondering if you would be able to maybe elaborate a little bit more on this with respect to current affairs that are happening. Sadly, recently, there's been numerous reports in the media, not only of racism, but also specifically, Asian hate crimes, ranging from, racial slurs and assaults. Additionally, I think we all know this by looking at the news, that there's a lot of global conflicts out there in current situations with, Russia and Ukraine just being one example. So the question really is, what is the Buddhist stand towards these situations? And how can we manage our hatred and ignorance?
Okay, thank you for the questions. Hatred is one of the three poisons in the Buddhist philosophy, and which is greed, hate, and ignorance. And though we say that it's three, but actually it's one. Okay? It's three in one. So when we talk about hate and greed and ignorance is involved, they are both involved in hate. So when we, in our mind, we have that hate, the emotion, the feeling of hate, hating others, and at the same time, we have some greed in our mind. We want something to happen, and we don't want something else to happen. And why we have this, what we want and what we don't want, it is driven by our ignorance. And as I said in this talk, that the Buddha says everything is co-arising. And so we are really depending on one another. So for ignorance, because of ignorance, we don't know that we are closely related to one another. So what we say, the war, the Ukraine war, the Asian hate, or this gun shooting violence, it's because the person who are making the decision to hurt others, to destroy others, that person doesn't know that actually is destroying himself, because that the so-called other country, the so-called other ethnic group actually is no different from that person's own country. That is no difference from that person's ethnic background. It's we man-made human concept that we differentiate the differences. So first of thing, I think to reduce the hate in our current world is to get rid of that crowd of ignorance and understand the law of dependent origination. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Venerable. I think it's a good reminder for us that we often have all these clouds, and by practicing, hopefully we can alleviate that. We do have a few questions now in the chat box, and I'm going to address one question first from Brad. And Brad asks that it is one thing to accept at an intellectual level that this world is a fleeting world, but it's also another to be able to internalize that. For that right view to be a mental habit. So the question for you, Venerable, is how do you suggest we modify our minds?
Okay. Our mind is also changing all the time. Okay? The moment you say that, okay, I want to modify, to change my mind, the next moment, it will change by itself. It will modify little by little by itself. So we really cannot hold on to the law, what we say, the reality of changes. But that is one thing we can do. That is one of the treasures that Buddha taught us. That is to meditate. Okay, meditation is one of the very important practice that the Buddha taught his immediate disciples. And then we can see that the result of that cultivation really helped many of his disciples to attain arhathood. for example. But still, there are some people who couldn't make it. Okay? And so in the 21st century, it becomes more challenging for us to cultivate our mind, to be mindful, and also to what we say that to change our mind. And I think we have to be patient, okay? That the idea, the concept of change is there, and it is us, we ourselves, whether we decide we want to change or not. And then what is the degree, what is the level, to which level we want to advance ourselves in that certain state of mind. And so I would say that meditation helps. And of course, study the Buddha's teaching also help to change. Maybe to put it in a better word, is to cultivate, okay, to adjust ourselves to the current, to our environment, and then to find the harmony between ourselves and the external world. And once we find that balance point that can make everything harmonize, then I think that your mind can be regarded as to that what we want to walk on to, that is the middle path. Okay? So you are not tilted to either extreme sides.
Perfect. Thank you so much for that reply. I think this question actually might be slightly related to the previous one, but one question from Rebecca is, are there any specific spiritual practices that can help me see the others as myself?
Okay, so when we look into the mirror, okay, we think the reflection of the mirror is I, okay? But actually it is not the reality of that I, okay? It's the reflection of the result of our sensory organs, okay? And so the reason why we don't see that you, okay, the person A, person B, person C in that mirror, when we look into our mirror, is because we have the habit of putting I as the priority, okay? And then that I is more important. So therefore, we are molding the image of the I that I want to be, that I want to see, okay? And so in the English, it says that putting yourself in others' shoes, meaning that you have that compassion, the empathy about others. And for example, I would say that you see parents taking care of their youngs, their kids. The parents, especially the mother, it seems that the mother knows exactly what the baby wants. Okay, and so taking care of the baby carefully. And in that, I would say that the mother see that baby as seeing herself, knowing everything the baby wants. Okay, and too bad that in the world that we see more the parents taking care of the youngs, but when the parent gets old, the kids, after they grow up, then they are caring for their elderly parents are not as much as how their parents taking care of them when they were young. Okay, and it means that the baby, when they grow up, they grow such a big ego, okay, that they see more of themselves and in seeing others. So just thinking about how your parents are taking care of you, then you will see into the mirrors, you will see others. Thank you.
That's a great answer. We have one question. It's actually asking, what is the duration of the short-term novice retreat?
The what?
The short-term novice retreat, I guess the monastic retreat.
Okay, yes. And so this is a very wonderful retreat, I would say. Before I renounce as a monastic, formally become a monastic, I joined a short-term novice retreat before, and it is about 1 week. So you go to the monastery and join together with other participants and living a schedule same like we monastic in living in a monastery. So you do morning chanting, evening chanting, you attended classes, you do chore works, you observe silence when you eat your meals. And so in that retreat, actually you are not experiencing the monastic life, but also you enhance yourself in doctrinal teaching of the Buddha, and you listen to lectures that the monastic will share with you how they experience in their monastic life. And I was inspired by, personally, I was inspired by that kind of shorter novice retreat. So later I vowed to renounce my household life.
Thank you so much for sharing that. I guess maybe one more question we do have is that we know, we're very fortunate, I guess, unfortunately due to COVID, but fortunate for us as devotees to now have these online Dharma lectures. And it's really great that Fo Guangshan is promoting monthly talks such as the one that you just gave, Venerable. We know recently that globally we had the 3 refuge and 5 precepts retreat last month. And, there were thousands of people that participated. Since some temples are not fully opened yet, how can some of our devotees learn more about the sutras? Are we expecting to have a little more, I guess, more inconsistent Dharma classes online?
So you are asking online resources of
Yes.
the sutra learning. I think for Guangsan, in Chinese, we have I Buddha, but that's all in Chinese. So in English, if you want to learn more about Buddhism, I think North America Buddhist College, I think headquarters in Silai Temple, that we have English Buddhism class. And also, we also provide a meditation class in English. So you can register in that Buddhist college. I think it's all online. And if you want to learn by yourself, I think attending a class online is important, but also it is important that you read books. And so here I may introduce you, other than the book in my talk, that I introduce you to read Humanistic Buddhism, the original intent of the Buddha, returning to the original intent of the Buddha. Personally, as a beginner, I would suggest you to read the biography of Shakyamuni Buddha. Okay? And this is important that as a Buddhist, once you take refuge in the Triple Gem, you want to learn the founder of Buddhism and his teaching. And I would say that the book written by Venerable Master Xing Yun is a very good option for you. There are many writers currently. You can find the biography of Shakyamuni Buddha, but Venerable Master Xing Yun, he wrote this book from a special perspective that he is seeing the Buddha as a human being, not as a god. And then, so his writing, his perspective is from how we can approach the human Buddha, okay? And then how the human Buddha, from his experience as a human being, and how he wants to share his discovery of the truth with us. And I would also say that as a beginner, this is a very good book to start with. Also, Venerable Master Xing Yun's book about sutras. If you talk about sutras, Then the Rabbit Home, which is a commentary to the Platform Sutra, is also a good choice if you like meditation, especially. And you may want to know what is the how is meditation from the perspective of humanistic Buddhism. And you will find that meditation is not only in the meditation room, but also in our daily life. And if you like to read the Diamond Sutra, Venerable Master Xing Yun also has a book on that. And in English, it is translated, the title is translated as the 4 Insights for Finding Fulfillment. And well, there are other sutras. You can Google it online. And I would say that, first of all, reading the biography of the Shakyamuni Buddha, and then I found that recently the publication of Buddha Dharma Pure and Simple, or in Chinese, 佛法真义. The 4 volumes of this book are very wonderful. They are divided into short articles that you can read 1 article per day, and that will give you inspiration. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Venerable. I think I think one thing to also always remember is sometimes when we read these books, we read it once, but the second time we read it, we might have learned from a different perspective. So the treasures of these books is profound for sure.
You know, it's like we monastic, we do morning chanting and evening chanting. And why we do that on daily basis? Venerable Master Xing Yun says that the Buddha need not to listen to your chanting, because that's his teaching. And so the purpose is to remind ourselves, to refresh our mind. So the books that I just introduced here, it's not only reading that once, it's not enough. You have to read again and again, repeatedly, so that you sort of like immerse yourself in what we call the sea of dharmas, the ocean of dharmas.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
And that's why we call it practice, right?
Yeah, right.
Thank you so much, Venerable觉繼. I don't think we have any more questions. So with that, I wanted to thank Venerable for taking the time to be able to give us such a wonderful talk. And so thank you very much, Venerable觉繼. And with that, maybe I will end off this call with just a few quick reminders regarding the next 2 sessions of the 2022 BLIA, North America Cloud Lecture Series, which will be broadcasted. The first is going to be a Chinese lecture that will be featured on June the 26th by Venerable Hui Chuan, the Vice Executive Deputy Abbot at Fo Guangshan and the Director of the Fo Guangshan Executive Council. The title of Venerable Hui Chuan's talk is 焚气在人间, which roughly translates to a rising up in the world. And then for the next notification is the next English session, which will be held on August the 13th, 2022. And this will feature a lecture by Dr. Kennedy Holloway, who is a lay Dharma lecturer and associate professor of history who holds the Levison Chair at the Florida Atlantic University. And his talk will be Buddhism and the Body, a Somesthetic History. And with that, we want to thank everyone for joining us this evening. And on behalf of the BLIA, we wish you all a lovely evening and auspicious blessings. Om Tofo.